Welcome, everybody, to the Black and White History Podcast. We are your hosts, Christian and...
You know, I wonder how many times something has to happen before we stop being surprised that, like, or naming it that it's like, oh, it's the first time that this has ever happened in history. It's like, well, just wait a couple minutes and then it'll happen again.
Oh, yeah. I guess we should just jump right into it because
I'm Jordan.
We have a pretty boring, uneventful president.
Yeah, Harrison happens.
Yeah, and so well, then we'll get right back into the Return of the King.
Yeah.
So
don't say that.
Yeah. But okay, Benjamin Harrison. Let's go.
Here we go. Grover loses.
Yeah,
Grover... he loses the election of 1888.
He's a couple things. Swing state from Indiana at the time, so that's really important. And he's a Civil War veteran. So, like,
Cleveland is not.
And Cleveland is not, and Cleveland doesn't want to have the federal government responsible for paying pensions for veterans. So that's a big thing. So it's like, ooh, well, we got a guy in a swing state, and he's a veteran. Maybe people will come back on our side and everything. So
remember Lincoln?
Cleveland, his VP, Thomas Hendricks.
Uncle of Jimmy.
Yeah. That took me a second.
He wasn't. Was he? Oh, wow. Yeah, wow.
So, Thomas Hendricks, even spelled the same.
Like the drink, but not spelled the same.
Yeah, right. So, he is, his vice president, Hendricks. He dies in office. And so, this is before you don't just replace your, he just ends up, there's no chain of command, basically, when something like that happens. So, we're still at the point where you would just pick a new vice president. And so, for some reason, Grover Cleveland makes a really weird and bad decision of hiring Alan Thurman, who is 75. He's very elderly, very slow. He's kind of known for not being very enthusiastic and just kind of
an older Grover Cleveland.
Yeah, just,
But lame.
Just a guy.
Without a hot wife.
So, so not only does he pick him to be his VP, but that is his main appointee to go out and do all his campaigning for him. So you can see where this is going to go.
I don't know. Just vote for him, I guess. He's already president.
Yeah.
He's got his stuff in there already. Just don't make it difficult.
So, and 75 at this point, it's like, whoa.
It's like 95.
He might die. Yeah. So both candidates are split on the veteran thing, the swing state, but also, and they're split on tariffs. So now tariffs start becoming a bigger issue now, because before Blaine and Cleveland basically agreed on the tariff policy, but now there's a much more separate stance where Cleveland doesn't want tariffs, but or at least he wants to bring them down dramatically low. And now we're returning back to the Gilded Age Republican era of like, no, we need high tariffs.
Yeah, and Cleveland's sort of main argument for against tariffs are that they're a secondary tax on people, because I mean they always have been, but a tariff is any imported good from another country that's not America gets an increased tax of X percent, let's say 10%. Now,
the North is very high industrialization.
Extremely high.
That's why northern states prefer high tariffs, because it helps job security.
It keeps manufacturing in their area so they can maximize their profits. And the South makes their own stuff, but they ship it all over the place anyway, so it doesn't matter. But if you're a business owner and you have a choice between eating 10% cost in these tariffs or making your products 10% more expensive and passing that on to the consumer, 99 times out of 100 you're going to pass that 10% on to the consumer, and it makes their prices higher, which means it's like a tax, except you don't get anything out of it except what you're already going to buy. And once people start realizing, like, hey, my blankets and dishes and everything is 10% more expensive and nothing's changed, like it's just more expensive now. And then the business is like, well, they're charging us tariffs, so we'll go out of business if we don't blah, blah, blah. So now it's the government's fault. And Cleveland's like, we're not going to do that anymore. I mean, it's not he did the trade-off in his head of we might lose jobs and income because we can buy from overseas because they make it cheaper or whatever, but the people here are not going to have to pay those higher prices. Whereas Harrison says, no, we need even more protection against foreign goods to keep jobs and money in the United States. So we need to increase tariffs and, just grin and bear it, I guess. Like, if we have more jobs here, then you'll make more money, because we'll have more stuff, so it'll offset and it'll be fine. Basically, it never does, but
yeah, but that's at least the argument.
That's his argument.
So, yeah.
It sounds plausible if that.
So, and that's more favorable for immigrants as well, as we said before. So, New York, a lot of immigrants, a lot of Irish.
A lot of immigrants.
This time there's no big October surprise scandal to help Grover get over the finish line. Nope. This time he actually loses his own state, New York, and Benjamin Harrison wins, who I didn't mention before, but this is the grandson of William Henry Harrison. The
grand success he was as president.
Yeah, so... But just another bar trivia thing. So the cool thing about this, though, is there's a really cool bipartisan picture of when Harrison takes his oath in office. Mm-hmm. Have you seen this picture?
Probably.
Okay. So as he's taking his oath in office, it's raining out, and Grover Cleveland is standing next to him holding his umbrella over nice. Harrison to visually show a peaceful transfer of power and everything, and two opposing party stuff. So it's like he's... Grover's
he's a principled man. He's a good man. He's a good man. He does the right thing. Sure, he's got an illegitimate bastard child out there somewhere, but he's sending checks. Yeah. Yes, he lost because he was too nerdy about fiscal policy that people didn't understand and didn't care for. But, yeah, I mean, all right, here's something that just came to mind, too. Like, the peaceful transition of power. That's a super important thing because, like, throughout all of human history, if we didn't want someone to be the king or the ruler, we just killed them and then their entire family.
That'd be a revolution.
Yeah, and like a whole bunch of people would die and like...
And they just recreate the same system.
Yeah, we just do the same thing, but with our people, and then the whole thing happens over and over again. Like the ability of a nation, it's one thing if you're a nation that like is kind of lame and doesn't have any power or money or anything. It's like, oh, well, I'm going to hand you the keys to this 86 Toyota. Like, great, thanks. Thanks for nothing. But like the United States is like the Maserati of countries, I would say. And so handing over the keys
pretty partial to
we're pretty side. A lot of guys don't like it. I don't understand why. But if you hand over the keys to the biggest military, the biggest economy, all this stuff, and you just hand the keys over and say, okay, there you go. Mm-hmm. Good luck to you. Like, and mean it in varying shades of like good luck to you, but like in general, like I'm going to hand it over to you. That is very, very unique. And it's worth noting that that's not common. It's never been common.
It goes to show that there's an actual care of the people too, because there's things of this during the lame duck period. Mm-hmm. There's been, we don't have to get into it now, but when the next president is getting ready to take over, it makes it a lot tempting if it's someone of a different party to try to sabotage as like they come in.
Supreme Court appointments and all this stuff, or not pass bills or not solve problems so that it becomes their problem. Mm-hmm. But yeah, absolutely. They're like, I've seen and heard many presidents of both parties say, hey, I'm not going to push for this appointment because I'm going to let the incoming president choose their person because I lost, so like I'm not going to try to force this through. That has kind of waned in the past few years, I'd say 10 or 15 years or so. But the idea was there of like, just like you said, this is the people's country, they chose, meaning that they chose me, but they have more recently chosen you, so I'm not going to hamstring you because I want the country to do well, because I want the people to do well. And that's nice.
I like that.
That's nice. Thanks, Grover.
Yeah.
We should give him another term.
Well, after Harrison's pretty big lame duck, speaking of lame ducks, his whole presidency immediately doesn't do much. I guess $1 billion Congress. It's a bummer that our state gets established under him. Mm-hmm. So he's the one that signs that off for Washington. He does do the most states in one presidency.
Yeah, but we were like, they were like, he didn't plant the tree. He just started picking the fruit when it was ripe.
Sure. I'm just saying, like, we're in the list at least. It's like, oh, it's cool to see. I'm saying it sucks that it was him.
It should have been Grover.
Yeah. We shouldn't have been a state until just 4 years after. But so North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, Washington, Wyoming, and Idaho. Mm-hmm. So basically everything from the whole west side.
Yeah, the entire Northwest except for Oregon.
Yeah, Oregon was already there. Yeah. So then it's just only a couple states left, like New Mexico. Mm-hmm. And
we'll get to them.
Yeah, so he ends up coming in opposite of Cleveland, where he's really fiscally responsible.
He's not.
An unfortunate, another bar trivia thing for Harrison is he's the first president to spend over $1 billion.
Woo!
So,
money.
Which is not a that's not something you want to be first.
Yeah.
In.
No, it's not.
And it does hurt his reputation.
Yeah, I mean, because you think of it, like, this is still 1889, and so, like, $1 billion is a lot of, like, it's a lot of money now, but it's like a bajillion dollars in 1889.
Yeah.
And so, he said, I'm gonna do these things. Like, he's trying to be progressive. He's trying to give people what they want, and that costs money. What did you think? You wanted puppies and Skittles for free? No, puppies and Skittles cost money. Well, I didn't think you were going to take our money. I thought we were going to have all this money because you put all these tariffs in place. Now I have less money and no Skittles. And my puppy died. We have to eat the puppy now because we're in a depression.
Yeah, yes. So now at the end of his presidency, we'll just...
That was his presidency. It wasn't good.
Yeah.
It wasn't good. He spent a lot of money. There were high tariffs. People didn't like those. And the good old Grover was like, I told you wouldn't like those
There's kind of
tariffs.
this gold standard thing going on too. We haven't talked about it.
I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah, but basically the idea of relying on the U.S. investing in gold as a way to limit how much money there is to kind of keep the budgets lower versus...
Oh, we're going to talk about fiat currency now?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm like, this is a whole can of worms.
It is an entire can of worms, but it's important to make a pit stop.
Okay.
Because
Quick.
you want me to explain the entire fiat money system?
No.
In 30 seconds? Okay.
Oh, okay, yes. In that case, yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. Your money's made up. It's not based on anything. So there's that. Fiat currency is just like, fiat means just like a whim. Right now, the American dollar is a fiat currency. It is not based on any tangible asset that has value. The value that's in it is the full faith and credit of the United States government. Basically meaning, you will take this dollar, and if you don't take this dollar, we'll bomb you into the Stone Age. That's basically what that means. Or we're good for it. Don't worry about it. We're America. We have enough money. So we have enough value. We have enough economic activity to any debts that we have. We'll be able to work those off. Come on, you know us. We're good for it. Before this, like from the 60s, 70s on back, more or less, it was based on gold, because gold is a shiny rock that you have to dig out of the ground, and it takes effort and time to dig it out of the ground and process it and put it into coins, and no matter where you go in the world, everyone likes something shiny. So gold, it's not something you can just make up. There's a finite supply of it in the world. There's only so much gold you can dig up. We can't make any more of it. So if you peg your currency to a tangible object that has value objectively, regardless of who has it, it could be Russia or America or China or whoever, that gold has a value that everyone agrees on. And if your currency is tied to that piece of shiny metal, then that's how much a dollar can buy you, more or less. If you change from gold or something...
Yeah, that's like the Grover Cleveland.
Yes, that is
argument.
Grover Cleveland. We cannot just add more money. We can't just write out... Basically, it's called quantitative easing, where you just add another zero to how much money you have. Now you have more money. No, you only have more money if you earn more money by mining gold and this, that, and the other. It's like a video game. It's like Minecraft. No, it's not like Minecraft. What's the other one with the aliens? StarCraft.
Oh, okay.
That's the one. So that's the gold standard. That's Grover Cleveland. The other side of this is we need to have
silver.
Silver is much more plentiful and it's less valuable, which means that if $1 is 1 ounce of gold, say, $1 being 1 ounce of silver means like you have 500 silver dollars to 1 gold dollar. So you have increased the amount of money, but you have decreased the value of what $1 buys because it's based on a less valuable asset. Mm-hmm. So you have more money in your account, but you can buy less with it because everything is comparatively more expensive. More or less.
Therefore, billions.
$billion. That's how you get $1 billion.
Yeah. So now that Grover ends up... So he... Again, everyone knows he's the only president until 5 minutes ago. Yes. He ends up running again and ends up winning and wins in a bigger margin than he did his first time.
It was like 0.5% of the popular vote the first time.
Yeah, he actually wins the popular vote all 3 times.
Yeah.
But this time it's the biggest...
electoral win.
Yeah. I guess that's the same thing with... I didn't click on it, but I saw something
History
like...
doesn't repeat.
Yeah, same thing with Trump,
rhyme.
where every time he actually gets a higher popular vote all 3 times. So it's interesting how that is the same. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Uncle Jumbo strikes again.
So when he ends up coming back in is right when a huge depression happens from old Benji catering or cratering the economy.
Yeah. Old Benji Bleeding Heart, the Panic of 1893.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
unemployment rate was about 20%. That gives you an idea how bad this was. This was the worst depression in history up to this
until
point.
The Great Depression.
Yeah.
And basically, again, because it's a depression, we have to talk about what money does. If that's what inflation is. Inflation is the same loaf of bread costs $10 instead of $1. When the reason that loaf of bread costs $10 is not because they put magic flour in it that cost more. It's because we have now based our money on something that's 10 times less valuable, or we have just made it out of thin air, meaning it's just less. This has happened many, many times. Like you've seen, some countries have like $1 million notes. That's because their currency is so undervalued. Like one whatever country dollar is worth 0.0001 American dollar. So you need $1 million. This is where like wheelbarrows full of cash to buy a loaf of bread, because that's what runaway hyperinflation does. And that's when that happens, your debts amount stay the same, but your amount that you are actually earning and what that can buy goes down. So line goes down, bad, no money, everyone poor, eating the puppies, no Skittles.
Yeah, and actually, real quick, let's show the map, because I forgot there's an interesting thing that happens during this happening.
Show the map.
Okay, so with this map, Cleveland like pretty much cleans up. At least, if you see, a third party has now emerged. We're starting to see a early movement of what would later kind of become a quasi Teddy Roosevelt kind of thing, just kind of more populism and things like that. And so, because it's, Theodore Roosevelt was a Republican, but he wasn't the type of Republican that Benjamin Harrison was.
No. He's a much more progressive Republican.
Right, yeah. So kind of this more, 19th century, early 20th century progressivism ends up actually taking quite more of the field than you would expect. But we'll get to Teddy later.
We're coming for you, Teddy.
So Cleveland ends up, he still wins more than he had before and re-wins his home state. And unfortunately though, the economy setbacks, and he's kind of, I guess it's kind of the catch-22, where his principles worked really well the first term because the economy was like stable. Pretty well, so now that he's coming in, it's kind of like the difference between a peacetime president and a wartime president.
Or like Grant, where he was well, no, maybe not Grant, because Grant was very focused on the South and enforcement.
It's just kind of like Cleveland worked well with how everything was already. So the idea of like vetoing and no, we're not going to do a whole lot. No, we're going to put this back to the states in the middle of a huge recession that the country has never seen before.
We need you to do something.
Now
this.
It's like,
nope, I'm not doing anything about it because it's not my job to do anything about it. Not like it's not my job to, but it's like the president is not supposed to be doing stuff like this. So you guys handle it. Well, we don't have any money. You the federal government needs to do something about this. And the thing that people wanted him to do was the old Harrison thing about silver versus gold, and he was very, very staunchly on the side of gold. Like, nope, we're gonna stick to the gold standard. We're not going to change it. And what he had a quote that said the government, the people fund the government, or the people help the government, but the government is not made to help the people or something, which sounds bad, but is correct.
Yes, it's one of those things where when you rely on the government to feed you, you also have to rely on it to starve you. Or if you give it the power to feed you, then you're also giving it the power to starve you.
Exactly.
So it's kind of that. So when you first read it, you're like, whoa, what the heck? The government shouldn't support the people. It's just kind of like, the government's not supposed to be in your life. Like, you control your life. And my role is just to try to maybe help get things out of the way.
Yeah, the government's job is to even the playing field between people and negotiate disputes between people. It's not to favor one side over the other. It's to make sure that everyone has an equal chance to do well, or to do whatever they want. Not even well, because no one can guarantee that you do well, because that's up to you and your whims. Like, if you wanted to go join the circus tomorrow, okay, go join the circus. Like, your standard of living will be very different than it is now, but that's your right. Go do that. Making the government responsible for whether you have the same standard of living, whether you're a lawyer, a doctor, or a clown, like, that's not possible, number one. And two, that's not what the government was ever designed to do, because the government is not as responsive as people are. It moves very, very slowly. It deals with millions of people, not just one person. And changing economic systems and policies and programs and adding stuff and all that, it's the wrong tool. And that's why Grover Cleveland was really for the states to decide that, because the states, while big, they are much, much smaller than the federal government. They are much more responsive to specifically what is. If there's a wildfire in California is much better equipped and knowledgeable to know where to put resources than someone in DC who's never even been to California. It doesn't make sense for them to hold your livelihood in their hands. They don't know who you are or what you need. And that's what Grover Cleveland was trying to do. The hard part is that when everyone's starving, they don't care about your highfalutin like philosophical ideas about it. I want my children to be fed. It's like, well, I'm not supposed to do that, and I'm not going to. So you guys figure it out amongst yourselves. And it sounds harsh, and it is, honestly. But like politically, it was the wrong answer, because people hated him for it.
It's definitely just a principled, branded type of thing, not a political branded kind of thing. Because there was even stuff where, big natural disasters or droughts were happening, and I think it was like in Texas or something. And one of the vetoes was to not send any money there, because it's like, when you think like, how could he, like, it's like, no, I mean, like, your state, you can take it up with your elected officials that represent you and your governor that you elected to handle that kind of thing.
He told you that he was going to take care of you.
Yeah.
I said I was going to take care of everyone, and taking away money from everyone to help you when you guys could raise your own taxes and raise your own money. Like, that's not fair, I guess, is his thing.
Yeah. So it's kind of a tough love, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's just the way it is. Yeah. At least at this time, it's just kind of the the presidency as an office is also still smaller than it is today.
Yeah.
So someone like him would not even be able to relate to how the presidency is right now.
Yeah, like if something like that happened, well, it is happening. Like, the president is the executive over FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Right. So he can just tell FEMA to do something and move your budget and defund this and fund this and put these resources there. He can just do that because he controls that entire agency. They didn't have anything like that there.
Yeah.
So Congress had to do everything. Well, Congress has a bunch of stuff to do. So, like, what, you want me to short track this project for your bridge in Minnesota? Like, I can't do it. It's not efficient. It's not right. It's not even really legal. There's no mechanism to do it. So, like, no, I'm not doing it. And I mean, that's basically that's the second.
Yeah, that's what the second term boils down to.
Where people asked him to do stuff and he just said no, just like he did the last time when people asked him to do stuff and he just vetoed it and said no.
Yeah, I mean, the economy did turn around.
It always does.
Yeah, it always does, and I think that's kind of also something he has in the back of his head is, people are pretty good at adapting and finding ways to work around trials.
Yeah.
And so more what you need than I do from where I'm at versus you across the country now anyway. So at the time, he was pretty unpopular. I would say kind of like with Grant, it seems like there's been a more revisionist kind of looking back at Cleveland, just like with Grant, be like, you know what, maybe people were a little too hard on him.
Yeah. He didn't do anything during the recession. It's like, well, he did exactly what he said he was going to do. Yeah. He acted within the bounds of his office, and he didn't do a bait and switch. People just didn't like it. And could he have done something different? Yeah, everyone could have done something different.
Well, it's like you want him to do another Harrison and rack up another $1 billion to spend.
Well, that's just what we do now. We just keep spending money. Just don't worry about it.
Do the thing that got us in the economic crash to help us get out of it.
Do that again. Yeah. Hey, you need to go to the hospital because you got hit in the head with a hammer. Why don't you hit yourself in the head with a hammer again and see if that like knocks it loose, like hitting the TV to get the signal back. Just whatever. Yeah, it's changing your whole economic policy, your whole economic system, and this, that, and the other, because it's like the meme of like, oh, something bad happened, burn the Constitution. It's like you can do it. you shouldn't do it, because if you do that, these other 10 things that you could not have even conceived of happening will happen, and you won't have a system that is strong enough or battle tested enough to withstand it. You're gonna have to change the whole thing over again. And now we're a completely different country than we were before this thing, because you panicked and changed a whole bunch of stuff. Like, it's not, you have to go slow. You have to stay the course and come up with ways within the system to make things better. And if you really get to a point where there is nothing that we could do to make the system better, then the country is effectively over anyways.
Yeah.
So, I think it's sad. Like, so he leaves in 96, and he lives for like 11 or 12 more years after that. Yeah. And then old Uncle Jumbo dies of a heart attack. Who saw that one coming? Yeah. But it's sad because I think one of his last words were like, I tried so hard to do right. And I think that's kind of like, it encapsulates his whole presidency and kind of his life, like with his illegitimate child and like taking care of his dead partner's daughter and then marrying her, but whatever. And like staying the course and doing what he really thought was right to prevent these things that happen when big groups of people kind of get in the mob and say, just change this big thing. He's like, we're not changing that big thing. That's going to have massive consequences you're not prepared for. And then everyone hates him and says he's stupid. And, objectively, he didn't push anything big forward, but he didn't like wreck anything. He just held the wheel basically straight, and the road started to get bumpy, but he was still holding the wheel straight. And then he said, okay, I'm done. I would much prefer a president who did less than he could have than one who does more than he should have.
Yeah. I usually, for me, I always think of, because sometimes, and I found myself doing this, where it's like, oh, that's so great that he he stuck with his principles and just did what, was what he believes is right. And then there's other people where I would just say the opposite of, I can't believe that he thought this was a good idea and he should, and I
Johnson.
I think it's kind of just one of those things where it really just depends on what's going on. And so I'm not someone who's just, there are certain things where it's like, no, I will not budge on. Mm-hmm. But when you're just analyzing different parts of history where just the culture's changing, and it's like, it does call for certain people to act in specific ways. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I want them to, I prefer them to do one thing over the other. And then sometimes it's the other way around based on two different scenarios that are happening. And so, we'll get into it a lot, but, Theodore Roosevelt's my favorite president, but he's not a lot like Grover Cleveland.
No.
But I like Grover Cleveland a lot. But it's like two different things, and there's two, and it's like I don't feel like I have to battle in my head on which one, like why one has to cancel out the other, because it kind of just depends in its own.
It's context dependent, and honestly, I think the common thread, at least for me, is like I can respect someone who has principles and governs according to their principles. Teddy Roosevelt's principles were very progressive, like we should reform this and we should have this and have it whatever. And Grover Cleveland's principles were we should not do this and we should not do that, and we should keep things basically as they are now, because things are not as bad as they have been and not as bad as they could be. So let's just hold the line here. And so like I have respect for that, but also we have the benefit of hindsight, and like, oh, well, if Grover Cleveland knew that there was going to be a recession 15 years before he became president, like maybe his principles on we're never going to increase spending and limited government unless there's a massive catastrophic recession, then we'll do ABC. Like, we can look back at things and, when the timelines are long enough, we can see the trends of like, oh, this is going to happen because we've been doing XYZ, and that has caused a recession 5 times in the past and 300 times in all these other countries and places when they did the exact same thing. We can plan for that. They had some of that, but not really. I mean, they didn't have rooms full of people on computers with all the world's information just like streaming into their eyeballs and then spitting out one-pagers about what you should do if the stock market dips 300 points in a day. Like, there was no manual for that. There's not really a manual for it now, but whatever. It's, we have the benefit of hindsight, but I do respect someone who has principles and governs according to them, because at least you get what you pay for. Yeah. You get what you vote for, and whether you like the consequences of that or not, at least it's consistent. Like, there's one thing I hate is just a bait and switch. Oh, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do this, and I believe in ABC. And then they completely flip. It's like, well, then I might as well have not voted, because you're not even the same person you said you were going to be. Mm-hmm. So what's the point?
Okay. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to keep following us.
Yeah, we're going to get to more exciting presidents. Don't worry.
Yeah. This was like a not the, crazy, Theodore Roosevelt, World War One. Oh my gosh, look at all this stuff happening. It's more just like, oh, he sat in a room and this is how he thought.
He said no to a lot of stuff.
But give him credit for what it's worth. So, okay. We will see you all next time.